What is up, Evil Dead fans? I'm going to go over some details for the raised top for Evil Dead 2 on your build. Before I get started with that, I want to talk about a couple things. Chris Pollock did finish his screen accurate Evil Dead 2 cuffs. He sent me both of them. Unfortunately, one of them was a little too narrow, a little too small to fit a hand in there for like a grown man. So I called him and informed him of that. That was for my customer's chainsaw. I told him not to worry about it. I'll just build one. Just send me a nut for it. But he's insisted he's going to build another one because he really wants him to have that, and I appreciate that. Chris is a very outstanding guy. Here's the one that fits perfectly. I got a little base paint on here right now. But if you look at the nut, it is just incredible. And this is actually rolled steel. He will start to sell these for, I think, about $100 a piece. And when he does start to sell them, I will let you guys know. And I did take the nut off the one that was undersized and did put it on my flat top with my screen accurate cuff. And it turned out just perfect. But there's no harm if you don't have the money to buy it to do the technique that I showed you guys. But Chris is just amazing. I love this thing. It's great. Like I said, when he starts to sell them, I'll let you guys know. Also, Roger from Ultravec Studios is retiring from doing the power gloves. It's sad to see that happen, and I'm very honored to have his first one. And ever since he did a trade with me for his first one, he's been contacted over and over numerous times to sew gloves and build for other people. But you know, he wants to go on to bigger and better things. And he's doing a few for some people right now, but if those fall through, he will let you guys know if another one comes available. I don't know if he's going to do gauntlets for people or not. I do know he's going to sell his molds for his power glove, and he does have a buyer for that at the moment. So there will be another person making them, but if I know that person very well, he's not a seller, he's just a builder, and he really just wants a power glove for himself. So who knows, he could be the last guy. I know there's a few other people who make them, like Mr. Eubank, he makes them, and he made one for himself. He's not a seller, as far as I know. And another individual just made another one, more the somewhat the hero one, but it wasn't really the hero one. It's very close, but it looks really good. And Roger knows who that is too, but I don't think they're selling either. So it's sad to see him go. But, you know, he wants to go on bigger and better things. And so, remember, guys, if you want one of these, when they come for sale, I'll let you guys know when Chris starts to sell them, about $100 a piece. And also, because he hand rolls everything, makes the nut, has to do the nut himself, and actually drills the little holes in there. Because that's an aircraft nut, and they're really, really hard to find in that size. So, and also, Roger, it's sad to see you retire, but I can't wait to see your next builds and what you do. So guys, with that, let's get into some details on the Evil Dead 2 race top. All right, guys, just a couple different things. You notice I did the pull string here. It's just the standard 3 inches across, 7/8 rod. This one does not hang out. It sits flush. You notice the paint hasn't been dirtied up or anything, or the grill. The handle isn't as severe, kind of like, if you remember when I did the Army of Darkness one, it's cut back just a little bit. This is more straight and just slightly rounded on the edges. Now this one had a major hole in the middle here. So I filled that in, and I'm gonna have to drill a little hole in it to be just a little more accurate with the Evil Dead 2 raised top. When it comes to the muffler piece here, you notice I have the full muffler here. And if you've seen my last video talking about the planning on the Evil Dead 2 raised top, that this is the proper exhaust that is seen most of the time. Now, there is a scene where you see the actual other one where it's kind of sloped down a little bit, or you see the one where it's kind of turned backwards, where it's not really Ash's hand yet, is the chainsaw that's cutting the neck of Linda, shooting out that black crap in the work shed. So you can use that look if you really want to, but in all reality, that still was not Ash's chainsaw hand yet. That chainsaw was used as Ash's hand later. If you notice in that scene where the back is actually cut open, I did cover that in a video I did talking about all the chainsaws from Evil Dead 2. So what I did is I made my little backing, as of course. I did a mold of the back motor piece. And then I epoxied it on the metal piece. Made sure it's set right. I have a dummy body right now that I use because the body I'm going to use isn't in yet. Then what I did is I put the original bolt through the old mounting hole. I just drilled it a little bit and left enough edge so it could catch. And this little edge here, well, that little piece on this outer side of this part, this little round piece will sit inside the old round part. So you just bolt that in and glue it, paint it up. Notice I got some grit on there. I left some silver on there. And let me show you what it looks like in the dummy body. All right, guys, here it is in my mock-up body that I received from my good friend Nick. Notice how it's cut out in the front here. It's a useless body I can't use anymore, but thank you, Nick, for it, because it gave me the other side of the tanks. I appreciate that. So this is the improper body for an Evil Dead 2 chainsaw, but all the measurements for the openings are all the same. So if you look at this angle here, it sits where it's supposed to sit when you see Ash cutting the cellar door. Now, if you have this muffler piece, you'll have one of two different ones. You'll have one to where it has that front block on the front, and notice how whoever had this before cut them off here or grinded down those welds and pulled it off. You don't see that in the film, whether those are there or not. I wanted to keep the grit, so I'm just going to leave them on there. I'm not going to cut or shave them down and repaint. Another one you can have has the same block on front, but they do have 3 screws on there, and it will leave some holes here. You can fill them in if you want to, but the look right here, I like it. And on film, you really can't tell if they're there, so I left it like this. I really like that. If you notice where it sits, right there, it's right to that edge. I know a lot of people, they do a full motor mold from the front and back. I didn't do that for 2 reasons: proper placement and hand room. I know a lot of people, they'll round out this outer edge of this other side of the body for the cuff and for hand room. So let's go to my mold here, because that side piece, like I said, is a mold, or the inner piece underneath the muffler is a mold. I molded the motor piece, but if you look right here, this is where the spark plug is. So when I fill this up with my resin, I know once I hit that mark, that's where I have to stop, because I don't want the spark plug mount on the back, because that's not even in the film. So that was my fill point, and it gave me the proper placement. And it looks really, really good. Now when I mount this piece onto my other body, it's not load bearing by any means, and I don't want to add any extra screws to this or bolts, because I want to keep it as accurate as possible. What I'm going to do is 2-part epoxy it in. It's not load bearing by any means, so that will hold it in no problem. Okay, let's go over here when I do my backing. Now I've already made my mold for my backing piece here, and I always make a plate to fit across it. There was no front mounts, bolts in the front on the Evil Dead 2 chainsaw. So what I'm going to do is when I make my backing piece, I'm going to have my holes drilled for my chainsaw bar to be attached by the bolts. Another one for my flywheel, and this one will have a horizontal handle coming out this way. I'm going to make that piece, and then there's going to be a bar, a flat, probably 1/8 of an inch bar, 1/16 of an inch bar coming across that will be fully connected to that backing and have the holes drilled in as well. And from the body bolt holes here, I will have another piece, another flat piece coming up, and it's going to bend up. It's going to bolt on to where the flywheel connects with the backing and that other piece that runs across, and will be bolted on there. And then we'll have one more smaller one that you can't see that will be underneath the flywheel, connected as well to that to keep it very sturdy. And then my connection to my handle, which will be horizontal, will be underneath the flywheel coming this direction. So it's a little bit different. I could weld a bracket piece together, but I really don't need to, so I'm not going to. It's just a little more work. I'm trying to make this as simple as possible for you guys. When I get the body in and get it cut up, that's when I'll make that bracket piece, and I will show you how to do that. So you won't have any bolts over here or anywhere else. You'll just have it going through the two bottom body bolts here, the body holes, and that's it. And this will be two-part epoxied in, and you have the proper hand room. You won't have to round out this other side here for hand room. So I hope that, sorry guys, I hope it helped you guys out. And by the way, for the Chicago HorrorCon, there's going to be a lot of us Knights there from the Knights of Samaria. And if you want one of my Ash vs. Evil Dead chainsaws, I will bring a few of them there for sale. I will probably have the lightweight chainsaw bars so you can run around the con, have Bruce Campbell sign it, or Sam Raimi. They will both be there, and Ted Raimi. Those will be the last ones at this moment that I'm going to build, unless I've promised them to somebody else already. Promised one to somebody else already, because I do have to build a couple more for customers before I retire. So when I get the other body in, it should be anytime. I'll pretty much wrap this chainsaw up. So guys, I hope this helped you guys out. And until next time, gosh damn it, you guys stay groovy.